Make sure to be a member on the channel, link is in the description. Hello guys, once again it's Matt, and today we have another video. A lot of videos coming up these days, but yeah, let's thank our members, Silami, Astropub, Patrick, Lafush, Vivi. Thank you all, it helps a lot. Make sure to be a member, make sure to join our Discord and subscribe to the channel. And today, continuing basically the type of video that I did with the F4M or the F4K, that is the FGR2 and the FG1. We are going to talk a little bit about the F-4F, the German F-4E. Basically, it's basically the same aircraft as the F-4E, but it doesn't have the ability to shoot sparrows, and it has less fuel tanks because of the lack of the ability to actually refuel in flight, which means it's the lightest version of the F-4, and together with the not having sparrows, is probably the best dogfighter F4 in the game. It has the slats. The engines are still strong, are not that strong as the F4M or the F4K, but they're still very, very capable and yeah, very good. But it is an aircraft that is lacking some stuff, and I would like to talk a little bit on basically a way to revision the way that the F4Fs are, including the F-4F early and the F-4F the late version, opening up a gap later in the future so that we can receive the ICE variant in the far future with the MRAMs and stuff like that. But as I said, in the far future. So yeah, first of all, let's talk a little bit about the performance of the F-4F. I still think, in my opinion, that the F-4F, even though it's a very good F4 and it's a very good aircraft in general, as a dogfighter, as basically everything else. I mean, it obviously still loses for an F5 or a MiG-23 and stuff like that, but it's still very capable and very maneuverable in certain areas. You know, it's very fast, and you know, it lacks a little bit of fuel, but still it is very good. And yeah, the main thing is that the radar obviously is the APQ-120, which is a very bad radar in general. Very, not a bad radar, but it is a very early radar, you know, 60s radar. So in a manner, it's just a bad radar in top tier, you know. But since you don't have sparrows, that doesn't change much, you know. Doesn't point a factor being a bad aircraft. But this is the point exactly. This aircraft doesn't have sparrows. It doesn't have a good radar. Doesn't have anything for it. It's just a good dogfighter. So why not add? Why they don't add the Aim9L? So yeah, the Aim9L, as I said on the F4G, the F4M video, it's not the greatest missile ever. You know, it's not as OP as it should be, maybe, or I don't know. It's not that OP in game right now. So that in that manner, you just think that it is able to be competitive, an aircraft like this, because as I'm going to say on the video of the F104, the F4F still has the same problem as the F104. It suffers from a kind of a BR compression, obviously. Many aircraft suffer from this. And it's not that it's not competitive, because you always depend on your team to be good at the game and stuff like that. But it's a matter of, in a 1v1 fight, it cannot win against an MLD normally, you know, against an F-14, and especially when stuff like a MiG-29 and stuff like that come. So in general, it's we kind of need the Aim9L to be a little bit more competitive. It would be a thing that you will help with the F4F being a little bit more unique as well, being the first F4 that would receive the Aim9L probably, just because of that, you know, it doesn't have anything else going for it, so why not put a missile that will make it so it's a little bit more competitive, you know. So yeah, the Aim9L, obviously the 30, I think it's 30 Gs, you know, and stuff like that. It's very capable missile, you know, all aspect and stuff like that. It would make a lot of sense. But not only that, I think we need a rework on the historical accuracy of these aircraft. I know Gaijin, when they added the F4F early and this version of the F4, they added with the Aim9J, because there is a manual that says that the Aim9J was actually able to be equipped on the F-4F. But in real life, the F-4F never received that missile. Germany never bought that missile. They only used the Aim9, not even the Aim9E they used, that I think the F-4F has. So I think it's just a matter of historical accuracy, you know. I think, yeah, the Aim9E, I was looking at it right now. So we could receive, first talking about the F-4F early, it's already 10.3 because it doesn't have flares or anything like that. But it has the Aim9J that it didn't use in real life, or the Aim9E that it used in real life. So my idea is to actually lower the BR to 10.0 and get only the Aim9B FGW2, which is the Aim9F. Aim9F, which would make the F-4F early a very capable 10.0, you know. It's still going to turn a lot. It doesn't have flares or anything like that, but the performance of the aircraft is very good, and the missiles would be still kinda alright for the BR, you know. And it's basically a way to make it so that is an early 70s variant of the F-4F, you know. And for the counterpart of being a late 70s F-4F, or even early 80s, would be the F-4F late that we have already, with the flares and chaff, and obviously with the Aim9L, but obviously also removing the Aim9E and the Aim9J. So we would get the Aim9F, as I said, the FGW2, and then you would go directly to the Aim9L. You would still remain at 11.0, maybe a different BR after a while, you know. But that would make all these two aircraft a little bit more realistic in its loadouts, and it would make it so that they are a little bit more fun to play, you know, because the F-4F would be like the F-4C, you know. It has a better performance than F-4C, but it doesn't have sparrows or anything like that. The missiles would be worse than the F-4C ones, even the Aim9s. Obviously, the F-4C has the Aim9E, you know, which is a little bit better than the F, but still, I think because of its performance, the cannon, you know, the speed and turning capabilities of that F4 would make it so that it's very fun to fly, you know. It still has the slats and stuff like that going for it, so it would be amazing on that. And the F4F late would receive the Aim9L, as I was saying before. That would make it so that it's a little bit more competitive until we receive more F4s. Which F4? Obviously, I already told you about, on even in the upcoming third generation aircraft that should come and stuff. Which is the F4F ICE, which is the improved combat something, I don't remember exactly, but it's the F4F that we already have, the late variant with flares and stuff, but it exchanges the radar from the APQ-120 to the APG-65, which is the F-18 radar, together with a pulse Doppler radar, very modern and stuff, together with the MRAM, which is the Aim-120A variant that they used. So these obviously being in the far future, you know, it would basically make the gap from the early 4th generation stuff to the later 4th generation stuff, because Germany actually cannot receive too many aircraft, to be honest. We can receive the MiG-29 that I talked about it in this week's video about the versions of the MiG-29. But it's just the 912A version of the MiG-29, so it's not a 4+ generation aircraft. So before we get to stuff like the Eurofighter Typhoon, Germany is kind of only having the MiG-29, and the MiG-29 is kind of limited to a little bit, you know, for more stuff after the MiG-29. You know, of course you can have the R-73 and the R-27s, which would be amazing right now. But after that, you know, thinking about the far future, a year from now, for example, Germany doesn't have much beyond the MiG-29 that I said, the F-4F ICE, and then the obviously the Eurofighter Typhoon. And of course there is the Tornado, but the Germans never used the version that it's a fighter, so an interceptor. So the versions that we would receive would be just, you know, attackers and stuff like that. So ended up being Germany ended up being a little bit left behind a little bit until they get the Eurofighters, you know. So, and that the Eurofighters and stuff like that would be in the far future. So this would basically make it so that you have, I mean, three types of F4s in the German Tech tree, You know, the early stuff, the medium stuff, and then the late stuff, being the F4F ice in the far future, as I said. Being a bridge to the Eurofighter. So yeah, I think it's just a matter of reorganizing the tree a little bit. There's many trees that should be reorganized, to be honest. The Russians obviously has the Sukhoi lines that are in the wrong place technically. They are in the interceptors place, and they are kind of weird, and you know, it's kind of weird the way that it is right now. So there are many tech trees that should receive that as well. But you know, it's what it is. And yeah, let me know in the comments what you think about this, about the F4F receiving the Aim9L instead of the Aim9E and Aim9J, and the F4F early being a lower BR without the missiles. But I really doubt that they will do that. They never change that much in aircraft, but still, it's something that I would like to see in War Thunder, and it would make sense in the way of historical accuracy, you know, and on fun as well, you know. I think it's kind of confirmed that the F4F will receive eventually the Aim9L, but I think we should receive it right now because, yeah, the only thing that it's actually carrying this aircraft to victory, it's the actual team that you have. You have a lot of MiG-23s and stuff like that, or you get together with a lot of F-14s and F-5s and stuff. So you ended up getting a lot of good matches because of that, you know, even MiG-21 bases and stuff like that. But these aircraft alone against multiple aircraft and against an F-14, for example, or an MLD would kind of be not that good. So let me know in the comments what you think about that. And also let me know in the comments what you think about the new missiles. They changed some stuff. I'm still waiting on the radar tilting stuff that I told you about on the Discord. Remember to join it if you haven't already. I told you guys about that they found some files about tilting the radar to the left, to the right, up and down, but they actually didn't put this in the live server, which is funny, you know, kind of funny, but still. And the other thing is the missiles. On Friday we actually had a kind of a small update that completely changed the way that the missile works. The wobbliness of the missile just was decreased. So let me know in the comments if you actually have seen these. You know, I think it changed a little bit of the missile performance, especially the IR guided. They normally had that problem, but it's just a tiny little thing, you know. Yeah, I still have to test in missiles like the R60 and the Aim9L, but in the Aim9J and P and stuff like that, it is very good. As you see, the missile is not wobbling, you know, too much. It's just going for it, and it has a lot more performance because of that. I think more range, you know. It feels like they have a little bit more range. They feel like they are turning kind of the same, but they kind of feel like they have more energy because they used to just wobble around a lot, and that probably would make the missile lose a lot of energy. Maybe that's it, I don't know, but still a very good update. And next week as well, as we are talking about general stuff, we are going to probably see the summer event starting, so make sure to subscribe. I'm going to make some videos on it, how to do it, the best ways to do it, if the vehicles are worth it or not. I'm going to test the vehicles, especially the air vehicles. The tanks I will only test if they are really interesting, but normally I don't use tanks or even ships, so I would probably just, I mean, normally we receive a new jet or something like that, so it's always nice, you know. I'm feeling the Pucara coming, but I don't know. So yeah, make sure to subscribe to take a look on that, and we shall see what Gaijin is holding up for us, you know. So I hope you enjoyed. This is the last kill that I got with the F-4F, so not a very bad aircraft, but as you see, the missile is working perfectly. So I hope you enjoy, and I see you guys on the next one. Bye guys.